here. They're here. I thought they weren't gonna be here for 2 months, so that was later in the summer. Huh. But I'm still pondering Sean the shots.
I didn't even walk forward. It's a wide open area in this, like.
Pochi. Pochi, such a small little guy, and I know nothing of the world, so I look everything I see, and I try to eat my own poop. This sunscreen has really bad white cast. I found a really good one from Bioderma, I think. But then a friend gave me this one, and I'm always like trying to switch it up, but this one really makes me look like The Walking Dead. So I thought we could go through my to-do list for today together, because today is gonna be a very busy day, because I'm basically trying to fix my life, which is a big ask. I feel like every video there's just like this depressive area where I just talk about everything wrong that's going in my life and how I feel terrible and etc, etc. If you watch my other videos, you already kind of get the gist of my struggles with mental health. I don't think I'm gonna get into it again just because I don't feel like it, and I'm like, that's enough, you know. I feel like when you go on and on about something, you kind of make it materialize, and also like, oh, there's a cat, and like it gets sedimented in your brain. So today we're just not talking about it. I know that lack is also presence, but I'm not being unhealthy about it. It's not like ignoring. I'm just, hello little baby. Where is she? Can you see her? Oh. It's really just that I feel like I've already kind of done the work of confronting those, you know, like deeper reasons for my behavior that bothers me. And I feel like we live in a society like our current cultural climate. Don't drink my sparkling water. It promotes the over-intellectualization of our feelings. I feel like you can really see that with how widespread therapy speech is right now, which is just awful. I feel like in an attempt to become more mature or to gain more power over our feelings and our communication in a time where both of those feel so chaotic and everything feels so polarized, I think we've kind of gamified human existence. Oh, hello. The smallest parts, or even the greatest, most intense parts of human existence, like love, become about hacks, about Excel spreadsheets, about, you know, polyamory that isn't sexy. It just feels like a pyramid scheme. Maybe it's a side effect of just existing under capitalism. Everything becomes kind of like focused on profit or maximum outcome. Everything has to work as best as it can, which obviously sounds good in concept, making everything just better, but I don't think humans are meant to, you know, maximize our existence. We're not supposed to love the best we can love in the sense of, you know, it being the smoothest kind of love, it being optimized. It can't be like written down into a fucking Skillshare class. Love, connection, mental well-being, these are not things that you master. These are things that you move through, that you experience, and they are very visceral and essential to our human identity. And I think kind of, don't do that. She's trying to drink again. I lost my train of thought. Oh, because while it's important to confront our feelings and think through them, and at some level to comprehend them intellectually, not only emotionally, because that way you do gain some more control over them and you can actually do the steps to help your life get better. I also think at some point it stops helping. Like at some point you just have to go and do it. Sitting in your bed thinking, oh, I do these things because of this childhood trauma, is not better than just forcing yourself to get up and go get some sun sometimes. But today is a Monday, so new begins. Did you see her hand? Last week was kind of chaotic for me because I ended up not going to university at all. I didn't go some days because we were protesting. There was a day that was just holiday, and there was a day I couldn't go because I was working. And I'm a very out of sight, out of mind person. So if I'm not actively going to classes, I just forget about all my academic responsibilities, which I really can't do. Also this weekend I fixed everything up for my trip next month. I'm going to the Primavera Sound in Porto, and I still had to get my Airbnb. I'm gonna go to a hostel for the first time because I'm broke and I didn't have money for anything else, but I think it's gonna work out. I hope I don't die. The big task today is to really clean my room, like actually clean it, because I do this very silly thing of moving things around and pretending that was cleaning or organizing when it was just moving the mess around. It's just hard because the problem is the amount of clothes I have, and I just can't fix that immediately, so it's kind of taking a while to really get my room in order, but I'm getting better, I think. And then I had to get groceries, which I already did. Slay. Had to wash my hair, and yes, that has to be in the to-do list because it is a big and time-consuming and energy-consuming task. Do laundry. I already did the first batch. To take the clothes I sewed on Vinted to the postamt. I do listen to this in Portuguese. I'm speaking English. I can only remember the word in German. To the mailing place. Oh my god, what is my issue? The post office. I have to pick up my sister's shoes. I have to buy a new pedal for my sewing machine because mine is broken. It only goes at maximum speed, and because I'm broke, I've been avoiding buying a new one, but I just cannot keep living like this because I cannot sew like that. It's just so loud and so fast, and all the stitches are fucked up. Oh, I have to buy a clarifying shampoo. I'm not sure which I'm gonna do yet, but I have diagnosed myself with product buildup from videos I've seen on TikTok, because every time I see it before and after, it looks just like my hair. So I'm gonna go, I guess, to the drugstore and just look around. But there was more to this. Clean room, laundry, groceries, errands, post office. Well, I have to go to the park and take some pictures, which is 2 birds, 1 stone, because I have to take a walk, and I'll just use my walk to take pictures. I have to film a little TikTok for a friend, and I'm going to the movies later with a friend. Obviously, that's not like a task, but I put appointments in my task list because it helps me keep things in order. I think I'm gonna have lunch, and then I'm gonna do my makeup, and then we're gonna go run errands, and then we're gonna come back, change outfits, and go to the park. I hate going to the post office. The men there are really mean for some reason. Sometimes I really struggle with the realization that I'm actually really scared of the passage of time and of aging. And I could take solace in the fact that, a fear of aging is the most established fear in human cultural conscience, because as organisms we are built to fear and avoid death, and aging is obviously the longest but most assured path towards that. In our culture, youth and beauty are such strong currency that of course we are taught to fear and to avoid aging as to continue holding that power of being young and being beautiful, being desirable. And while I'm not implying that I'm somehow magically exempt from all of these fears that have been instilled in us since we were little tiny babies, I think the root of my fear and my anguish in relation to this is a little different. I think I've always really admired older people and found so much beauty in old age, and I think I've always kind of been excited to be a grandma one day and felt that was kind of conductive, that's not the right word, but matched kind of my personality and my tastes in life. And while the thought doesn't please me, I'm not necessarily scared of death, but I'm very scared of the loss of innocence. And I think being 20 right now, late teenagerhood, early 20s, is such a pivotal moment for that in a way. You are entering systems which want to take your naivete from you, and you're going to experience things, relationships, love, desire, loss, grief, that take that away from you, or at least take what we perceive traditionally as innocence from you. And it's really scary for me. I don't know. Like, I get emotional talking about it because somehow that's such a big part of the value I put to myself, and I think I've always kind of related, not just, you're young, so you relate to the idea of naivete or of innocence, but more profoundly, I think I've always kind of understood innocence in my perspective, which is not the same as I think a lot of traditional understanding of innocence. Since I don't mean, of course, a kind of very typical, almost patriarchal understanding of the world. It's not being a big Dumbo who doesn't know how the world works and being, like stupidly optimistic or stupidly trusting. Not like, Evelina, the book. Not like an old Victorian idea of this perfect innocent protagonist in a book for girls. That's not what I mean. But like a fresh-eyed outlook on the world. Optimism that isn't just like a consequence of a lack of wisdom, but an active choice of being forgiving, of being kind to the world, even when it isn't to you, of being unbound or unburdened almost. And I think burden, regret, those are things that I've always feared completely, the kind of story that always haunts me the most. And that's why The Secret History by Donna Tartt is very emotionally hard-hitting for me, because it really chronicles that like passing over from wide-eyed, like diving headfirst into the world, even where you're cynical, kind of like, even in his cynicism, Richard Papin in the beginning of the book is very naive, surrendering to beauty and to desire in some ways, And by the end, all of these horrible things have happened, but he doesn't get to die. He doesn't have to have any kind of resolution like that. He just has to keep on living a kind of, standard. Like at the end of a fantasy book, even where everything has gone wrong, at least the characters kind of have like the solace of the extraordinarity of their lives. In a book like The Secret History, it's just like you have to keep going to the grocery store while being haunted. Maybe that's also why I love stories about hauntings, because they really scare me, not on a visceral level like, ooh, spooky ghost, but on an emotional level. I'm very scared of being haunted. I'm very scared of being regretful. I think I value lightness so much, airiness, a sort of an attachment to the world, but not in the sense that you're like blasé, but in the sense that like you kind of get to, I don't know how to explain this, but like still being in that state when you're young and unburdened, and you get to float through the world and see all of the like fig trees blooming. That moment when you're on the cusp of something has always been the most pleasurable and exciting for me. I've always thought that waiting for something good to happen, that is gonna happen, is almost better than when the good thing actually happens. Because when the good thing is actually happening, all that I can think about is the fact that it's gonna end. So I don't know. I think I'm the kind of person who really stuck in the future sometimes, and I'm so frightened of kind of not having a future anymore, kind of having everything, all the dust settled, and just having to go on and on with the weight of whatever I've done and decided, and all the things I haven't done or didn't decide. I don't know. I watched Challengers yesterday, right? I didn't talk to you because I came home and I had a really awful headache. And I loved the movie. I will link my Letterboxd review. But the movie is a lot about that as well for me. And again, that's the kind of story that's really hard-hitting for me, where you chronicle just the loss of innocence in a person's life and the dissolvement of their purest relationships. I love stories about like childhood best friends drifting apart. I think I've talked about the Book of Goose recently. It's a book I read last year, and it's a really quiet book, but it hit me very hard in many ways, because again, there's no like drama and there's no like peace in extraordinary existence. It's just ordinary existence, but forever haunted by the mistakes you made, or not even the mistakes, just the inevitability of loss. Not really recently, a few months ago, I lost my childhood dog. Oh, am I tearing up? He was really important to me because I couldn't remember life without him. I got him when I was 4, so, and he was with me until I turned 20, and it was really hard for me to kind of deal with that, like turning 20 and then him dying. In a way, his death felt to me like the last door to my childhood closing, because he was such a token of that existence that I've led, of being a child and being so, why am I crying? Oh my God. And being so pure and unbound and free and full of potential. And obviously I'm 20 and I'm still all of those things, but I'm scared that I won't be one day, and that really freaks me out. Yeah, now I've got to redo my makeup. Fuck. Anyways, I have to go to the post office because I didn't go yesterday. Bye.